This is the 2026 Toyota CHR, and it is officially the most affordable EV in Toyota's lineup. Yes, it is an EV. Now, some of you might remember a CHR that was discontinued a few years ago, a little gas-powered compact crossover, kind of quirky, didn't sell all that well, although people who owned them tended to like them. Now, I'm not sure how much equity is really in that CHR name. This thing doesn't really look like it's related to that gas-powered version, but I don't think it matters that much, and I do think it's cool that Toyota has decided to introduce a sort of entry-level EV in our market. Now, yes, it is a little bit smaller than the BZ, the renamed BZ4X, and of course the BZ Woodland, which is a wagon. And some of you will note that I called both of those BZ, yes, because this is AutoTrader Canada, and I am talking about Canadian spec vehicles, including this CHR, which is available in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, although the battery is the same regardless. It's a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. Of course, what changes is traction as well as how far you can go on a full charge. So let's talk about that important stuff. Now, if you go with the entry-level front-wheel drive version, you're supposed to be able to travel about 496 kilometers on a full charge. Yes, that's a little short of the 500 kilometers that a lot of people reference as sort of the point that they would consider an EV, and a lot more people are looking for closer to 600 on a full charge. So that might be a little bit disappointing. And then when you add all-wheel drive, well, you're looking at 452 or 436 kilometers, depending on the wheel size. It's still not bad, especially, again, for a city-sized crossover like this one. This isn't something that you're going to be doing all kinds of long-distance cruising. This really is your commuter-friendly crossover. And I think in that way, it really does nail the assignment, and the same goes with the driving dynamics. Now, here's my thing. EVs, they do feel inherently sporty, especially compared to gas-powered crossovers. They're a little more buttoned down. That low center of gravity does a really good job of making it feel planted to the ground because, of course, the battery is nice and low in the vehicle, and that's going to kind of make it feel like you're more on rails, to overuse an analogy that's been beat to death. But the point is, this does have that kind of sporty character that you might expect, but it's smooth, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it does all the things you want it to. It just happens to not burn any gas while you're doing it, and that I very much like. I also like this interior. Now, this one is the XSE, so I'm not sure if this light gray kind of synthetic suede upholstery is exclusive to this trim or if it's available with the XSE Premium that sits at the top of the lineup, but I think it looks really good. It helps to kind of brighten up the space in here, and it's different than every other vehicle that's black or tan on the inside. Those are kind of the de facto choices, so I like that you can get something at least a little bit different that doesn't stand out too much with some sort of flashy color. This is nice and tasteful. Now, some of the stuff in here that we should talk about, of course, there are heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. Those are standard. So is this big 14-inch touchscreen that has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get this little digital driver display that I know some people complain about, but I actually really like because it puts so much vital information a short glance away from the road. It means you don't need a head-up display as well as a traditional instrument display. This gives you sort of the best of both worlds. There's also dual wireless phone chargers. Now, here's another hot take. I'm not so crazy about them because I find, especially if you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which this thing has, both of which are wireless, well, they end up burning through the battery faster than a wireless charger can replenish it. So I would much rather plug in, which you can do, of course, ports down here underneath the console, but I guess it's cool that those are standard. And then if you want stuff like heated rear seats, well, of course, you're going to have to pay more. The same goes with this panoramic sunroof. So how much are you going to pay? Well, of course, it depends on the trim. So the cheapest trim is 47 grand before tax here in Canada or thereabouts. And then there's the XSE, that's 52,000 bucks, or the XSE Premium that you're gonna pay about 56 grand for. Now, again, that is before tax. It includes freight. The other thing to consider, we do get a federal incentive back. Now, of course, I can't tell you exactly how much it's going to take off the price of each because it does vary, but it's as much as 5 grand. So if Toyota slaps another couple grand on top of that, you're looking at a pretty tasty deal for a crossover that has decent range. Room, It's actually pretty generous up here. Not sure the back seat is my favorite place to be, but I like the way the cargo area is oriented. Because yes, you do have that sloped back end, so it cuts into the cargo space just a little bit, but when you fold the rear seats, it really opens the space up to make this thing very practical. So no, I don't see it working as a family hauler, but I don't know, for singles, for couples, whether young or retired, if you're just using this thing to kind of get around, you don't carry people in the back seats too often, I would definitely take a close look at this. It's also got a NACS port now, so you can hook up to Tesla stations, although don't forget, not every one of them, because older stations in the network use a different communication protocol, so non-Teslas cannot plug in. The 10 to 80% charge should take around 30 minutes in ideal conditions, which is what you want to see. Add it all up, and I think this CHR is a pretty good deal, and it's also pretty impressive way to repurpose that name in a crossover, even if it doesn't so much look related to the old one.